Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. Today is Thursday, January 15th, 2026. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Everywhere on social media, @Jester_Dooms. Don't forget to check out the website, www.jestersvoice.com, and leave us an audio message. How are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? How are you today? Hope everybody's doing well. The weather has taken a turn again. If you hear some wind whipping in the background, it is because the wind is in fact whipping. Yeah. Okay, so hope your morning's off to a great and fantastic start. I hope this morning that maybe you enjoyed a toasty strawberry and cream cheese toaster strudel. They still make those toaster strudels? I think they do. They used to have the breakfast ones with like the bacon and the sausage in them. They were something to experience, but definitely not good. That's all. They freaking sucked. Anyway, moving on. Guys, I got a piece of news for you. And I want everybody to understand what I'm saying when I say this and don't get my message convoluted. Okay? Wherever you're listening to the Doom Daily Show right now in this current moment may change in the very near future. Okay? Now, the show's more than likely still going to be on the WESN network, so go check them out, WESN network. So it's www.epicstrategiesnetwork.com, the WESN network. There's also the app you can download in the Play Store and in whatever the Apple Store is. I think it's just called the Apple Store. You can go there and you can download that and get my podcast, The Doom Daily Show, along with other podcasts that are out there and available. So go check them out. Thank you, WESN Epic Strategies Network, for hosting the Doom Daily Show as well. And what I want you guys to understand is the podcast world is a very weird world when it comes to hosting and RSS feeds and all the different things that are mechanically working in the background to get these show feeds out there at all the platforms. Okay. And we can't necessarily see everywhere it's listened all the time. All right. I had found out before with my other show that like every once in a while we were like in the top 5 shows listened to in like Germany or some shit. Like it was really weird. And like, I don't really have a German base. So what platform were we on there that we were getting marks on? You know what I'm saying? Like it was really bizarre. Anyway, so long and the short is you have a website that hosts your general feed, okay, where you upload to and you have an RSS feed and they push this all out to all these different podcast platforms. Well, we have 2 of these working independently, one for the It's Doomsday podcast and one for the Doom Daily Show. Now, I've came to the recent realization that it does not make sense to have 2 separate hosting platforms anymore. I initially thought that it would, and I thought that it would primarily because I wasn't sure what this show was going to do as far as maybe blowing up overnight and having, you know, thousands of listeners within the first week. And then I was also really unsure what was going to happen with the It's Doomsday podcast. So I didn't want to lump the 2 together. But now, where I currently sit in life, it makes sense to lump the 2 together. Number one, the Doom Daily Show does not have an uberly huge following. So people that actually listen to the show daily will get the update and they will move over. For the rest of the people that are like, yeah, I only listen once in a while, whatever, show kind of sucks, they're not going to get the update. And that's fine. You know, if you're coming in all the time and you like the show and you listen and you're a dedicated listener, you'll know how to search the show up. Very simplistic. It'll still be on Spotify and on the platforms, but you're going to have to refollow it because it's going to be under a different RSS feed, essentially. So with that being said, everything will be available under the It's Doomsday podcast platform. I'm assuming that's how that is going to go. Me and producer Scooter are going to work on getting that figured out very soon because, like I said, it just does not make sense to have two separate hosting platforms, two separate hosting payments. It just doesn't make sense at this current juncture. The It's Doomsday podcast is back. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. And the Doom Daily Show has not blown up overnight, and I still have the opportunity to lump the two together before this show does probably garner really negative attention and people hate on it and they share it and it gets popular because people hate on it. That's what I was expecting to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. But we can dream. Let's dream that they hate us. It's really out there pushing all the people's buttons to gain popularity. Maybe that's the whole secret plan all along. Or maybe this is just how I really fucking feel and I just share it with all of you. Maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe that's what's happening. So I don't know. I just hope that when we do move, you, the listener, will take the time to go refollow it under its new platform, which again will be where you're already listening to the show anyway. You're just going to have to research for it and refollow it. That's what you're going to have to do. All right. The end. It's that simplistic. It's that simple. It's not a very complex thing to do. And in all reality, this might even benefit the show even more greatly because the It's Doomsday podcast has a larger following and more daily downloads than the Doom Daily Show does. So on that note, it might get more popular, more quick, more overnight, maybe. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages. Producer Scooter, you look fantastic today. If you would, sir, please press that button. We'll be right back.
Can't get enough of Jester Dooms? Check out his other show, It's Doomsday Podcast, available on all podcast platforms. That's It's Doomsday Podcast.
Back to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. You know the rest. Give me my IRL, and if you haven't got the code word for the week yet, you better go back and find that code word. You better be listening. All right, so I haven't done a Homestead update in a while. It feels like a while. It could have been 3 weeks ago. I don't know. My days run together, man. I am like a very piss-poor oiled machine, the way my brain works nowadays. And it is either hyper fixation on one thing or focusing on nothing or just ping-ponging back and forth between random thoughts all day. Like I don't know what the fuck is happening. Stress, ladies and gentlemen, stress. So as of yesterday, my block guy got the block foundation finished for the initial plan. Okay, got it finished. So we are at the point now where we are waiting for our concrete beams to arrive to set them on top of the block work that is there. We finally hit the height we needed to get to all the way around on the foundation for our concrete beams. Now, I was going back and forth for a very long time trying to figure out, do I want to do I-beams? Do I want to do wood beams? Do I want to do beams that extend past the foundation to compensate for my front and back porches? Like, what do I ultimately want to do? Right? That was the whole debacle of, what should we do? How should we do it? Et cetera, et cetera. That was the whole thing here. And then really, the conclusion we came to was, what's going to be the most strongest cost-effective thing we can do for these beams to support the house. And we landed on concrete. Now, they have these interesting U-shaped concrete beams called lintels, and these lintels, not to be confused with the legume lentil thing, but the lintels are a U-shaped, precasted concrete channel that are steel reinforced. Okay. Now, how these work is they basically sit on top of the block. All right. And the edges of these things are carved out. And what you do is you run a few pieces of rebar through the center of this U channel. It's self-supporting. It holds itself up there while it's waiting for its concrete. It sits on the block with its many steel bars inside of it, holding itself up there, waiting to get filled with concrete. And what happens is whenever you're doing your rebar work and you're running these things through there, it actually, you set your concrete beam and then your spaces in between your concrete beams, you're backfilling with block. Now, the block that these are getting backfilled with are also getting runs of rebar through the top of them, like 2 or 3 runs of rebar. So when we back pour these concrete walls and we back pour these U-channels for the concrete beams, we are going to have not just, these solid concrete beams that are steel reinforced holding the house up. This is also going to be tied into the entire foundation. So one big solid massive concrete like a cap sitting on top with rebar running all through the thing. Now, I probably could have got away with just doing 3 of these beams, but I am Captain Overkill, so we're going with 5. All right, we're going to run 1 in the center and then 2 on the opposing sides, splitting the difference in between the 2. So basically, the long and the short is I'm getting probably way more strength and stability than I ever need. Okay, now my whole thought and theory is like, shit happens in life. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to be in for. We could build this house and it could burn down next year, right? And then we're going to be like, well, shit, what do we do now? Do we rebuild? Do we move? Like, what's happening? But my thought is like, you can't really burn concrete. You can weaken it, but you can't really burn it. So my thought and prerogative is, say that the house does have a fire and it's catastrophic. Well, I have everything solid poured concrete, right? So if a structural engineer comes in after the fact of the burn and says, hey, dude, yeah, we're considering the home a total loss, but your foundation is still sound and secure and is still structurally okay to build back on. Well, fuck, let's start building, right? Why not? It's still here. Everything's poured concrete. Like, that's not going to burn. It's still going to be here. This is not a hollow block wall anymore. It's backfilled with concrete and steel reinforced. So we should be good. Also burn time with a structure too, and what can go wrong. So a lot of people don't realize this, but the reason the fire department tries to get out there so quickly isn't necessarily the idea of just loss of life. I mean, that is a big thing, is loss of life and rescuing whoever may be stuck in the home, and preventing, great injury or even death. It's also the idea, the quicker they get that fire put out, the less damage the home sustains. Right? Like, even if you see these guys up on your roof with a chainsaw venting the roof and pouring water into your attic, I mean, that shit'll dry out. You can't rebuild with ash. So, there is this general idea that if the house did catch fire, if the fire department got out here quick enough and they were able to gain control of it and get it put out, then I may still have to tear the house down, but the likelihood of that, solid concrete structure being destroyed is probably not going to happen. Right. So that's kind of where my mind's at with this as well. So again, it's a little bit overkill for what we're doing, but I was going for overkill. Now, moving forward, the things have kind of shifted gears a little bit. We now have decided to add more block and concrete work as we're going here. And a couple of the upcoming plans are, we are now digging an additional footer for an addition we're putting on, because we were going to do it initially, just do a stick built exterior wall for the addition, and my mind has shifted to, what, that would be really cool to do that, but I think that maybe what we should do is we should do a knee wall out of block to support the wood for the stick build, not just put it just right on the footer or 1 or 2 run of block. Like, let's go up with a knee wall, go up about 3 to 4 feet, so many courses to ensure, good structural integrity for the addition. Now, with that is also coming a couple pillars for the back porch. We're also going to do a block back poured cistern tank next to the house for water supply. So an underground cistern tank. And then we are looking at doing one more wall that is going to act as a kind of a retaining wall, but is also going to help hold back the dirt that will be in front of the cistern tank. And we will probably end up doing a footer for that as well. So we have decided to add more block work into this, but the reality to all of this additional block work is these are all things we're going to do later on anyway, more than likely. So it's kind of like, well, we have time now waiting on the concrete beams to come, and we just kind of need to move forward and plug away and get this done, right? Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, Producer Scooter here. First off, thank you for downloading and participating in the wide world of Jester Dooms. Please be sure to check out jestersvoice.com website. Everything you want to know is located on jestersvoice.com. If you're looking for salacious details, it's on jestersvoice.com. Don't forget to share the show with your friends and even with all your enemies. And now, back to the musings of Jester Doom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I'm your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. I want to continue into the homestead thing a little bit here. So waiting on the concrete beams to come in, and this kind of led us to the idea of a money-saving aspect. So we know that we have a lot more concrete to pour on the property. More trips with the concrete truck racks up money really fucking quickly. All right. Calculation of how much concrete you use racks things up really fucking quickly. It's bad. Concrete companies will not waste money. So if you decide, hey, I didn't need all that concrete, you're still paying for it. They drove out there, they brought it to you, even if like you might not use an entire truck if you do not calculate this right. And I learned this the hard way when we were pouring the footer. I did the math and I did the calculations for the footer, and my calculations were a little bit wrong, and we wasted about a half to a quarter load of concrete. We got wasted. And it was like, well, I fucked up and probably spent a few additional $100 in concrete I didn't need. Now, every time a concrete truck comes, or every time you have that service and they have extra concrete that they don't pour, you're basically just pissing your money away. So my thought was, in order to kind of combat this concrete cost a little bit, the additional footers we're going to do, I think we're going to mix by hand and pour with bags, as I think what we're going to do for those. And then I think that before we even have the concrete company come in to pour the walls for the house, I think I want to get the cistern tank done and get the retainer wall done for the dirt that's going to be held back by that cistern tank. And yeah, I think that's what I want to do, and just have all those walls poured at one freaking time. Just all at once. Let's pour them at once and let's be done with it. Let's not fuck around. And even if I have to go get additional block to top things off and make things go a little further, I think that like at this current juncture, I think that is simply just worth doing, because the additional money that you have with back pouring these concrete walls that, I wasn't a thought in the beginning of all this was, we have to get a pumper truck in here. Now, pumper trucks can vary in price, but the general rule that I'm finding with all these concrete pumper guys is that they charge so much to just show up on site, and that price may vary based on how long this guy's been in business, how busy he is, if he's a newer guy and he's trying to get his name out there. Like, it could all vary what it costs for them to show up. But it's not cheap for them to show up either way, regardless. And then they charge an additional fee for how much yardage they pump of concrete through that pump. Okay? That's how that works. So we don't want to have the pumper guy come out on multiple days. We want that to be a one and done thing. Like, come out one day, get this shit done, get all these cells backfilled with concrete. Let's get a concrete vibrator out here, make sure we're topped off really freaking well. And, the end. Let's not do this. Oh man, we got halfway done and it's the end of the day and we're going to have to come back tomorrow and all these things. Like, no. We need to do this all in one fucking crack. All in one crack, all in one day, no fucking around. Like, that's what we need to have happen, because if we don't, we're going to be up shit's creek without a paddle and have a lot of money wasted having the pumper guy come out on more than one day. All right. So we've went back and forth with many ideas in the realm of what we are adding and how we're adding it. And it's kind of been, if you guys have followed and listened to the show, you guys know that we kind of started this process. I think we initially started digging these footers out and had concrete poured in October. I think is when it was. And we've been slowly plugging away, getting the block work done since October. And I mean, the guy that's doing the block work, it's been taking a while to get this done. But also, the guy's giving us a very reasonable, fair price. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Do you want speed or do you want like quality at a low price? Because we're getting really good quality at a really low price. It's just taking a long time because it's one guy, maybe bringing one guy with him, kind of doing the work himself. And I had tried to dedicate myself to be there to help the guy do the block work. Like I tried to be there and it was like, nah, I got someone and nah, you're going to be in the way, or kind of not really telling me I'm going to be in the way, but nah, I kind of like to work alone and just float along and do my own thing. So I didn't get the opportunity to really help the guy with the block work, but I'm thinking this next go around, I'll get that opportunity because his guy that was working with him now has another job. So this is going to open the door for me to go in and be like, hey, let me help you do this, right? Let me help you with this. And we will slowly plug forward and just get this done, right? For those of you out there that may be questioning my sanity when it comes to putting in a cistern tank and building this out of block and backpouring it and versus going with a plastic tank and blah, blah, blah. All right. I've went back and forth in my mind numerous times about what we should do as far as the tank goes underground. We get a lot of rain in my area throughout the year. We are in a pretty high percentile when it comes to rainfall in the U.S. So it makes sense to have a rainwater collection system. For those of you that say it's illegal, no, it's not. Go fuck yourself. It's fine. Okay. Now, the reason going with block and being backpoured block versus going with the plastic polyethylene underground tanks, this is the first thing. Those tanks, when they get low and the ground gets saturated, will float out of the soil. When that happens, you're in for a fucking nightmare of trying to repair that. It rips out whatever plumbing's attached to it. All right. And what usually happens and how this happens is, and it's usually just like a maintenance thing or a mistake thing. Like you'll have a clogged gutter and that water will not be getting into your tank, but the ground will get overly saturated and you won't realize how saturated that ground is. And you won't realize that tank wasn't getting water and it starts floating up out of the ground. Now, it doesn't take a lot of movement or floating for that to do damage. If that thing moves up 3 inches, it's fucked. Like your plumbing has been ripped out of it, or your pipes are broken, your overflows, your intakes, whatever, they're fucked. All right. Going with a concrete tank or a block tank like this ensures that that will not happen. If that tank runs completely dry and empty, it is not floating to the goddamn surface if it is concrete. All right. Now, the main reason I want to do an underground cistern tank out of block and concrete is primarily longevity. It just simply lasts longer. This will be something I do and should not have to mess with again for the rest of my fucking life. It will not float out of the ground. It will not collapse. It will not have anything fucking go wrong. All right. My neighbor growing up, they have a cistern tank built out of block, and I'm actually trying to copy exactly what they did. Okay. This cistern tank has literally been in the ground. I don't know. I'm saying it's got to be coming up close on 50 years. All right. There's no cracks. It doesn't leak. There's no issues. It's fine. And the other thing that's pretty wild about it is their concrete or their block on theirs was not backpoured. So if theirs has made it 50 years or however long and it's never leaked, the one I'm putting in should last 100 fucking years, if not longer, right? So this is going to be a forever tank. This is, it's going to be in the ground forever. It should never leak. It should never crack. It should never have a problem. So when this, house, if it stays in the family and eventually gets passed down to the great grandkids, all right, that tank should still be fine 100 years down the goddamn road. Should not be a problem. Okay. Now, in addition to this, when you think about the idea of doing the rain collection system and you think about you have all the square footage of the roof of the house collecting water every time it rains, I'll also have the additional square footage of the garage. Okay. And then if I add an additional carport or anything else later outside that's big enough to justify putting gutters on, it can also feed this rainwater collection system. So if we get 1 inch of rain on the span of all of these buildings, that's going to do my underground tank very freaking well. Okay. Then, not to mention, there's always the idea that you can fill these tanks and have trucks brought in and put water in anytime you want. There's also the idea that I have 2 springs in a creek on the property and I can run water up to fill said tank. That's how I live my life now. I pull water from a spring and we fill a tank. Like that's how we do it right now. Right. So not that big of an issue to say, I don't know. We didn't get a lot of rain. Let that hose run in that tank for a couple days till it overflows. Okay, cool. No problem, right? Not a big deal. So I think for me, the main concern is just the cost and the extra time it's taking to do this and get this done ahead of time, which is not that huge of a deal, not that big of a deal. Like, yes, it is setting us back a little bit, but fucking whatever. We're just going to kind of have to endure and run through the chaos here a little bit and just kind of get shit done accordingly. And this is with the new decisions that have been made, it is going to set things back about a month. But my wife and I have kind of came to the conclusion that we would rather do things the way we want to now and get them done right, even if we get set back a month. A month in the grand scheme of things is not that big of a deal. Okay. All right. I had to do a homestead update of where we're at with things because there's a lot right now that's in my brain that I had to get out of my brain, and now it's out. Now, with that being said, if you heard me in the beginning of the show, I want you guys to just kind of keep, even if you're not a daily listener, even if you just come in once a week and you catch an episode here and there, I'm going to reiterate it again for the people in the back. The show might be moving its hosting platform. Therefore, you're going to have to give the show a new follow to keep getting notifications for the show and keep getting the automatic downloads to your phone and all those good features that come with following and having alerts turned on and all that good shit. Okay. So just be aware that time is probably coming very soon. That's all. And we will be notified. There'll be something that goes out on the website for it. I'm sure I'll do a little notification out there on social media. And that's just kind of how we'll do it. Producer Scooter, you got anything? It's fucking big talker over here. Okay. All right. Well, that's it, guys. That's all I got for today. We will see you guys back here tomorrow for another exciting episode of the Doom Daily Show. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your day.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.